UrbanRcLa, what up? It's your boy Reed. Chad unfortunately is not here. He's selling $1 million watches, Patek Philippe's. Yeah, he got a real job. But I'm really lucky to have with me today Chris DeGraff, better known as HemiStorm RC. If you're not already a subscriber of his channel, of course do that, because he's one of the best body painters out there, and I'm really lucky to have him. Chris, what's up in Norway?
It's cold here.
Well, great, man. I've been watching all your videos, and I gotta say, they're awesome. Like, I'm kind of new to the hobby, and I sort of took on a project of trying to paint my Jeepers Creepers just recently, and I totally screwed the whole thing up. So I started watching your painting tutorials and checking out some of your threads on rcsparks.com, and I thought I'd ask you a few questions just on a beginner level, what kind of equipment to use, and how to go about doing kind of a lower end paint job, because watching some of your videos, obviously it's a bit intimidating. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
And no problem, just shoot. Just shoot.
And by the way, we're kind of doing this double take style. We're doing it, you know, we're filming through the matrix. You're going to get both sides. You're going to get my side, and you're going to get HemiStorm side.
My side. Oh, yeah, I don't know if people will be able to see, but there's actually a camera standing here, and I'm also recording, so should be pretty much funny, I think, when it's all done.
So let me just give you a little quick history about like where I'm at with my painting. I have the two SCX-10s, which I really enjoy. I have the Monster Duck, which I call it affectionately, and then I have the new Jeepers Creepers. Now on the Monster Duck, real quick, I'll show you. I did two things. The first thing I did was I added on these Dinky RC side skirts. And I painted those, and that wasn't too difficult. I learned how to cut plastic and put on a simple layer of one color paint. I think I did a pretty good job. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thumbs up from HemiStorm. Dope. Okay. And then on the inside, I had to use a different kind of paint to do the interior. And maybe you've seen this. This has got the Sam Fisher in there with a laptop and a gun on the dash, but I had to use a different kind of paint because it's a different kind of plastic, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit. And then
I think you'll actually be able to explain me more about that than I will be able to explain you, because I've never painted a hard body yet.
What? Never painted a hard body? Holy!
Never, but I got a Trailfinder 2 on order, so that will be one of the upcoming videos on the channel.
Oh man, what DJ Medic did with his Trailfinder making the Top Gear truck was epic.
Oh yeah, awesome stuff. Great stuff, absolutely.
So then on Jeepers Creepers, I did the body painting, and this is where I experienced the majority of my problems. And you can see it's a pretty cool looking truck, and I think I did an okay job. But there's definitely room for improvement, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And then what I also found was the interior, which typically comes out of a New Bright Hummer vehicle, and I had to fully modify it with, that's my subwoofer in the back so I can play music, right, MP3s. Again, with the Sam Fisher character, I think he looks the best. He's got his gun out, ready to kick some ass. I didn't paint this one, but I had to do an extremely amount of modifying to really get it to fit and work with the SCX-10. But overall, I think it turned out pretty good. So I didn't have to do any painting on that. So we'll put that back right there. So if you don't mind, I'd like to just kind of go over some of the problems that I ran into with this body, so you can kind of feel my pain. And I think a lot of people out there feel the same pain as I do. You know, you spend $30 on a body, you buy what you think is the right equipment, and then you quickly learn that it's harder than it looks. So I actually bought another body so that I can do it right this time, from learning from the best. So let me just start off
with the best, but yeah, I have done it a few times now.
Come on, you're the best. Don't be modest. He's the best.
No, there's a few really talented painters out there who have mastered the airbrush, and who I'm pretty sure also really high up there with raffle cans. But yeah, I really like to share what I know and how I like to do it. So that's nice, I think.
Well, again, we really appreciate you coming on and helping us with this. So what I ran into, first of all, is overall it's the masking process that I think is, and you'll probably agree with me, is probably one of the most important parts of the process in order to get the good lines and and get the paint on at the layers that you need it to go on, because it's kind of a mind bend when you're doing this, because you kind of have to do it backwards because you're painting from the inside, which is a unique process. Also, there's a lot of prep work that goes into the body before, and there's plenty of videos on HemiStorm's channel that talk about the prep work, so we'll kind of gloss over that a little bit. But some of the problems I ran into, first of all, is that in the end result, even though it's a brand new painted body, I've got a lot of places where I have paint that ran into the other paint, and the reds and the blacks, and then I got some issues where the actual interior is rubbing against the body and cracking and flaking off the paint. And then I have body flex issues where too much flexing has caused cracking in the actual paint itself. And I'm pretty sure that's due to, if you guys can see that there, that's due to probably overspray or something like that that makes it difficult for the paint, or the paint's too heavy to adhere properly, or maybe I didn't even prep the plastic right and I probably should have scuffed it up or something. I don't know. We'll find out more from HemiStorm in about a minute. But maybe you can talk about some general ways that you want to protect against this kind of cracking and popping and stuff. Do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, that's basically when you're all done, you can take a few measurements to make sure that does not happen. Well, what I always like to start out with is the cutting of the body. I know there's a lot of people who paint first and cut afterwards, and I personally prefer to cut first and paint afterwards, because that way you don't risk ruining your paint, because you can imagine that with a pair of scissors a scratch in the paint is easily made.
Yeah, I have that issue right here.
That's one main thing. First do the cutting, and possibly even the reaming of the holes if you need to make some room for your body posts.
Yeah, I did have some problems when I was cutting. The actual blade slipped, and I cut a big old gash into it right here. But I wasn't too disappointed, because I knew I was going to beat the crap out of the truck anyway, so it was like, yeah, well, whatever. But it wasn't going to be like perfect from that point on.
Yeah, it's that first scratch that hurts the most, basically.
I had some issues with cutting. I did cut out the body first before I painted it, but I did not do the reaming of the holes first. So I think that's part of the reason why I had the issue here. Plus, it was impossible to tell where to put the frickin' holes, because I couldn't see.
Yeah, and that's also a thing. When you're placing that body, when it's still transparent, if you put it on the chassis, you'll be able to see where the body posts actually need to go. Just mark it up, ream it out, test fit it, make sure that you got enough clearance on the wheels before you do anything else.
Yeah, right on. So let me show you some of the equipment I use, and maybe we can take a look at some of the equipment you use and see where I can make some upgrades in my painting department.
So yeah, I think you'll probably have the same stuff as I have, because it's all very basic.
All right, well here, let me show you. Let's put that back together. So let me show you first. Let's start with the masking. So let me show you the tape that I'm using right here, and maybe you can show me what you got. But I basically got like kind of a lower grade blue style tape, which I use for the sides for the striping that I did. And then I have like a basic masking tape as well. Now what I found was it was difficult to get the edges to really adhere to where I was trying to mask. So maybe you can show me and talk about the different types of tape and methods you use.
Well, first thing is you can imagine when you're cutting that body. Oh, by the way, do you use scissors, or do you?
Well, I have some scissors, but I don't know if they're the right scissors. I'm using just some basic hobby craft grade scissors. But I really had a bad... Oh, you have a Dremel?
Yeah, go with the Dremel. I personally prefer this over scissors any day.
So this Dremel, so you're saying it's easier to cut...
with the thin cutting wheel?
Okay, so I've got the right cutting wheel. Is it there? This one I think it's for plastic cutting. Yeah, it says plastic right on it. So
actually, my least. This is not my favorite wheel. There's also one that has like that tiny teeth on it. It's more like a sawing blade.
Mm-hmm.
That one is even thinner, and that's the ultimate one for cutting a body. But this one, it works fine if you just take your time. If like with everything, when doing a body, just take your time when you're cutting. You're good.
Well, I had a big problem when I was cutting the actual the plastic for the hard body stuff for the interiors that I was doing. this would not do it. Like I literally had to use this to cut out everything on the inside for the interior because it cut like butter. I mean, it was just like this thing would just die every 2 inches. Like it was just.
Yeah.
So you're right. It is kind of a finesse when you're doing the bodies. I guess you just have to do a real steady pace. I'm guessing, and not apply too much pressure to the plastic to really get it to go around.
Yeah, and you stay away from the actual cutting lines that you need to have, and afterwards you got that sanding drum that you can put on your Dremel.
Oh, okay.
Just that on, and that way you can carefully like grind it away to the edge that you actually need to have.
Okay, so work your way up to the drawn lines then.
Yeah, I call it the Escobar method because it will look like you had a cocaine explosion afterwards.
The Escobar method.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, kids, don't try this at home. All right.
Oh, don't.
Okay, so Dremel. So I got the Dremel. Woohoo! I'm ready. Okay, I'm gonna do that this time. I'm gonna try that. That's gonna be different. Okay, and then the reamer for the body holes. This is what I have, right? Which is kind of the most painful. The hardest part I found was starting the holes.
Yeah, true.
You know,
true.
I mean, they also, I guess, Pro-Line makes like a handheld reamer or something like that. But that has like a handle.
Well, I got a really cheap one, and I basically always need to ream from both ends because the Lexan tends to like skirt out a bit underneath where I'm reaming. So I ream from both ends, which also sounds really wrong, but that works best for making a.
All right, you heard it from HemiStorm. You heard it from him. Ream from both ends. Important to remember. So you mark your holes with the body clear. Ream it out from both ends to get it started.
Yeah, it sounds really wrong. Yeah, but yeah, that's the way to go.
I didn't know that.
And also, really important, while we're on all the wrong tips, make sure that your body is really clean.
Yeah, you want to make sure you have a clean body before you ream from both ends.
Yeah, because you can picture that when you're fingering that whole body, and it will get really dirty. So afterwards, you need to really clean it out thoroughly with some soap.
So when you're fingering the body and you want to ream it from both ends, you got to make sure to clean it first. Okay, so this reamer will work then. That's good.
Yeah, that will work.
Okay,
well,
so
good tip on getting some better adhesion with the body is a regular kitchen sink sponge.
So then you think
a new one that has a bit of that still has a bit of a coarse feel to it. And just scuff up the body as you clean it out. Don't scuff up the windows if you want it to be really transparent, but the rest of the body, just scuff the Lexan slightly. That way you get a bigger surface for the paint to adhere to afterwards.
No. So let me get this straight. So first thing we would do is draw the lines of the paint job we're trying to do, right? Ream the holes, right? Cut the body, wash it.
Yep.
Wash it, then scuff it, then wash it again.
Yep.
Yeah, because
or scuff it while washing. That works really well.
Scuff while washing. There's a pro tip. All right, you're gonna save time in your process. Scuff with the sponge while you're washing. That makes total sense. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Okay.
And afterwards, just rinse it out, and you make sure that you need to get rid of all the water residue, because depending on what kind of paint you're using, if you're using like anodized color or a metallic color, those water spots that will really show through, so they can ruin the paint job. So make sure that everything is very clean before you do anything else.
Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the different types of paint to use and where you actually spray, because that was a big problem for me. Is I have a downstairs basement that I spray in, but I think it may be too dusty, so we'll talk a little bit about that too. But so what I use, and I think you'll probably echo this sentiment, is I use the Tamiya colors for plastics. So for the inside of the monster duck, I use this, which is, it says Tamiya, this is for plastics, and this one is a different kind, I'm guessing. It's for polycarbonate, and then this one for
the whole Tamiya TS range basically is fit for plastics, so for outside of the body if you have a hard body, and the PS line, that's fit for Lexan. So yeah, and there's a ton of colors to choose from. I'm not sure if it shows well on camera, but these are only a few shades of green that Tamiya has in the TS range.
So in case you're wondering, what he's referring to is the TS and the PS and Paul and Tom. So these are both TS's. So in reality, I probably shouldn't have used this one for the hard plastic, but it worked really good because it is a TS.
That one you should use for the hard plastic, but if you want something for Lexan, Lexan, in other words, for the Lexan is polycarbonate, which starts with a P, and that's also why these have a P instead of a T.
Oh, okay. So basically what I have in my collection here, that might be one of the problems that I had, is that I was using the TS on the Lexan.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Okay, so my first problem was, when I was searching for paint, I got the wrong paint. so if you're going to be doing the Lexan bodies, use the PS line, and if you're going to do the polycarbonate stuff, or the hard plastic, use the TS line. So that basically means I need to buy some more paint before I do this again. So,
probably, yeah.
Thank God for that information. The good thing these aren't that expensive, because, I mean, what the hell? Oh. And I might go with a different color, I'm not sure.
10 bucks a can or something, I don't know about there, but over here it's about $10 for a can.
Yeah, I think I was like, they're $6 US, so. Okay, yeah. So we figured out the problems I was having with the paint. Now we can go on to how to apply the paint evenly. And my whole thing was like, I kind of like did like a, first of all, I painted downstairs in my basement, right? So I had basically, I think I probably had a bunch of dust particles, and I was worrying about overspray getting on my car and stuff like that. And I think I just was a little bit too aggressive, because when I get started, I like to go really fast. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So talk about for me, if you will, where you actually paint your body. You know, is it ventilated? Is it not? Do you have a backdrop?
I know all the wives and girlfriends and people that are joining apartments and or houses with RC enthusiasts are not going to be thankful for me saying this, but I paint in my kitchen.
He paints in his kitchen? Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully with the windows open.
No, just put on the kitchen fan, that's it.
Yeah, so his kitchen's probably lightly colorful in a lot of places.
No, the thing is, the funny thing with the PS paint is, it's basically, it dusts the paint, and the PS paint, it only adheres to Lexan. So what you will see, what you will notice, if you put like a garbage bag on the floor, if you're spraying right in front of the oven, for example, and really, kids, if you're watching this and you're going to attempt something, ask your mom first, because otherwise she will write me an angry letter. I don't want to do that.
Ask your mom, kids.
That will take your allowance, or so don't do that. But make sure you cover up the floor, and you will see as you spray the body that all of the paint, all of the overspray that will fall outside the body, you can just sweep it away, because it is basically it's dry dust.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, so the overspray is like won't adhere to anything but the Lexan? That's crazy.
Yep.
That's totally cool. I didn't even know that.
Most people are super anxious about using it indoors, but as long as you ventilate as well as you can. Like over here in Celsius at night, it's like -10. You don't want to ventilate that well, because that creates another problem, which is, if you do decide to spray paint in your garage, for example, which is fine, make sure that the temperature is correct. So you don't want to finish up your design indoors, where it's like nice and comfortable room temperature, and then go out to your garage, have a 20-degree temperature drop, spray your paint. If you go like from inside to outside, or from room temperature to garage temperature, you might risk a bit of a condense starting to pop up on the inside of your shelf. Oh. You won't notice it instantly, but it causes the paint to flake off afterwards. So you want everything to be at one constant temperature.
Okay, so that was another problem that I had, is that since I was working on painting my body downstairs, it was quite a bit colder than it is when I came inside. So when I came inside, there was some flexing and some constriction or expansion of the paint on the body itself, which then caused the bubbling and flaking. So that makes sense, because I used the wrong paint, first of all, and then second of all, I had an extreme change in temperature, so that's really good to know. One thing I did notice from watching a lot of these car shows where they paint cars is that when you're painting stuff, you want to keep it in the same direction as it's going to be mounted on the car. So what I had a problem with this one too is that I painted a different way on the left side than I did on the right side. So I had some paint that had run and settled moving upwards, and other paint that I had run and settled going downwards. So I have color variations on either side of my body. The last question I have for the god of painting, HemiStorm, right here, all the way from Norway. He's like a Viking of 5th scale bodies. It's crazy. Is how many coats do we actually need, and how quickly, you know, because like when I was doing it, I would go like shh, 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 and then it didn't look like it was really the color I wanted, so then I would go like shh, 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 shh. So I'm guessing that's probably...
Yeah, the thing is, patience is key. So you really want to start out with a really thin coat. That also helps to prevent any bleeding in your masking. Make sure you use really tacky tape if you use tape, or liquid mask, which works even better if you have a really complex design going on. Mm-hmm. But spray a really light coat, and then afterwards start building it up. Never build it up to the point where it gets runny or sagging or whatever. Just really take your time. You know, it can't hurt to let the body dry an extra 10 minutes, and you'll be able to see when it all flattens out and when you're ready to put the next coat on.
Okay, so that's really good advice. I mean, you can always add more paint. You can't take it away. So spend your time masking. Cut your body before you paint. Wash with a sponge and rough up the edges minus the window while you're cleaning it with the coarse side of the sponge. Ream your body holes from both sides. Spray conservatively and use the right paint. Right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, and one really important thing is you want to always paint from dark to light. So you want to start out with the darkest bits. That way your paint job pops the most.
Awesome. So there's another good piece of advice. Start with the dark paint and then go to light. Okay. Well, I did that right. I got one part of it right. All right, well, dude, like I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming by and dropping by via Skype all the way from Norway. HemiStorm, Chris DeGraff. If you haven't subscribed to his channel, definitely do that because it's an inspiring stuff. Because we all know when we go out with our buddies in RC, you always want to check out what new additions and what new upgrades they performed, and a great boss paint job is really sets you apart. But don't get to the point like I'm of the opinion. Don't put so much effort in that you don't want to put the body on the car when you run it. But definitely take your time and make it personal so that you have something that stands out from the crowd. And again, HemiStorm, I really appreciate you dropping by UrbanRC. Hi to HemiStorm's fans and subscribers. Thanks for having me on your channel too. I appreciate it very much.
Thanks for contacting me. I'm honored because you guys, the two of you have such an awesome channel going on, and it's such next level stuff. You know, with some funny things that I've never seen before on any RC channel, and yeah, I always get a kick out of watching you guys do your thing in the streets. So yeah, thanks for having me. It's an honor as well.
Hey, we'll check it out next time.
I've been doing it for such a short time, and I really like the way I'm able to interact through YouTube. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, hey, if you're ever going to come over to LA, man, you're welcome to visit me in Santa Monica, and we'll go rip up the streets together.
Yeah, let's do that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, again, if you haven't already subscribed to UrbanRcLa, please do. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up. We really appreciate it. Also, leave a comment in the below the video so that we can start a conversation about this. Maybe you have some questions for HemiStorm. You can always hit him up on his channel. Great guy, great fun having him on the show. And we'll see you next time on UrbanRcLa.